Hey there everybody. In today's video I'm going to be covering loadouts and the variety of different options that you can give yourself during different circumstances within the game to give yourself a better edge depending on what's happening in the game. We're not going to be covering any specific weapons or builds of weapons. Instead we're going to be covering more of a theme for each loadout. Um, so without further ado, let's just hop into it. Uh, So the first type of loadout that most people run and most people are aware of actually is an overkill loadout where you have two different main weapons for, different circumstances. For this one, I'm running a Growl and the MP5 for long range beaming with the Growl and close range obliteration with the MP5. Um, As far as perks go, there's obviously Overkill, but there's one perk that I believe is better than any other perk for perk 1, and that would be Double Time. There is an argument that you could be running Cold-Blooded, but to just be off of a heartbeat sensor and not show up highlighted on thermal really doesn't give you as big of an edge as being able to move quickly around the map anytime you need to, because that's the type of game Warzone is. And for the third perk, there's actually two options that I like. First is Amped for the faster weapon swap and rocket launcher speed. That's really important when you're in getting pinned down by fire and really in the thick of it and you run out of ammo. It's quicker to switch your weapon with Amped than it is to actually reload. So uh, that's one thing to keep in mind. But also Battle Harden, if you are going to be in people's faces a lot and or holding down a building, or you got a team coming from uphill and you're downhill and they're just lighting you up with explosives, Battle Harden can really give you that edge as well. But for the most part, usually I'm running Amped. But the purpose of this class is Overkill. And to be able to have two separate main weapons can be life-changing whenever you're getting into battles. Especially a lot of people running up to you with their SMGs and all you have is a Growl. You're not going to be able to finish them off if they're hitting all their shots first. You want to switch over to that MP5 whenever you're cutting those corners and killing people. And the second one that we're going to be covering is just a Ghost class. And Ghost is by far, I think, the most important second perk that you can have. Probably the most important perk in the game. There are some arguments with Restock recently that's kind of coming into the meta, but we'll go over that here in a second. But Ghost, keeping yourself off of UAVs is beautiful. The next thing that I really wanted to cover was having Restock. Now, this is something that's recently been coming into the meta, and usually if you're running a whole team that was using Restock, it's not going to be as beneficial for you. You really want people to run Ghost on your team so you can sneak around behind people or hold down places when other people are completely unaware that you are there. But Restock is wonderful for constantly having to rush teams and clear buildings, because if you got, like I do, two C4s and two stun grenades or even flash grenades all of the time, you can stop people from moving, blind them, your team can run in, and you can blow them up with C4 or RPG, which is probably my favorite secondary weapon that you can get. So for the most part, you are going to be running overkill classes, and you want to get this with your first loadout drop, which is usually money that you guys accrue at the beginning of the game. Buy a loadout, get this one, and then when that second one drops, after that first circle is done, or is finishing, or is collapsing, you grab your ghost so no one can see you on the UAV. That's normally the meta. With Restock, you can grab Restock as your first or second class. If you run a couple Restock classes, that might also be useful. As you can see, I have 8 classes that I mainly use, and then I got 2 test classes that I'm just messing around with. I'll probably turn those into multiplayer classes sometime, but as for right now, I'm just testing things. So the fourth thing that I would like to cover is a fully loaded class. Um, this has nothing to do really with the perks. I mean, keep in mind what I've been talking about with the perks, but what fully loaded is an actual perk for your weapon, and it gives you max starting ammo. So for my growl, I'm gonna spawn with a full clip plus 210 in spare ammo. This is really useful when you're in the last few minutes of the game and you just got brought back from the gulag, or your teammates just um, redeployed you because you were dead, and you have nothing else. Everything's already been looted. Circles like collapsed into 100-meter radius, and there's fighting from everywhere. And you have no other options besides go and pick up your loadout. But if you pick up your loadout and you only have one clip, well, you better make sure you can kill somebody and then take the ammo from them. So instead of having to worry about that, you have a fully loaded class, and this will save your life. And actually, it's won me games before in the past. The final type of loadout that I would like to go over is a sniping loadout, actually. Um, Nothing to do with just the weapon specifically. Like I said, build whatever you find is comfortable. I don't think for sniping it really matters as much because it's all about accuracy. If you're running any of these basic snipers, I don't know who runs Dragunov, but HDR, AX50, or even if you go to marksman rifles, some of these, you can usually single shot some people or double shot some people. It's really not going to matter too much. But the fact is having a sniper class is a very circumstantial type of class. I have seen a lot of people try to just run sniper the whole game, and you're like running through Boneyard, Airport, Superstore, and it really becomes way less useful than having an AR or an MP5 or something. But if you see that circle and you know that it's going to be at like on the ridge lines of Quarry or down by um, the promenades or something like that, having a sniper means that you can down people left and right and pick up a double-digit game, but just by using a sniper. Personally, I like to run it with silence. I mean, it's not necessary, but for me, think that having that silencer is just going to keep everyone else not aware of you besides the people that you're shooting at. That's about it, everybody. The Most of my classes are just kind of variations of everything. I have Overkill with these 2 weapons. I have a ghost class, my main ghost class. These are my 2 mains that I really go to. And then if I want to snipe, usually I will go with the growl and a sniper, and then grab my ghost with my second loadout. Restock is something new that I've been doing. I really enjoy it. I'm probably going to turn one of these 2 classes into a restock class eventually, but that's something that you really use when you got a team that's dedicated to the pushing. I got a Ghost MP5 class for close range, uh, late game moments where I know it's going to be clearing a lot of corners, like all the fights are going to be really close and the growl's not going to be as useful as this weapon. Uh, I also have a growl with Renetti's for the close range and the long range, because Renetti's will demolish a person in just a couple shots, and the growl will beam them from 300 meters away. And we've already covered the fully loaded and the sniping classes. My last 2 are just test classes. As far as having a circumstantial benefit, this will cover pretty much everything that you can think of. I run RPGs as a secondary usually. If you don't run RPGs, I would suggest at least having one class where you can do that, especially if you've been seeing a lot of vehicles. You can pick up some easy quad kills doing that way. C4s and heartbeats are also very useful. C4s will you can use as just a grenade, but also they will blow up almost any vehicle besides Big Bertha in one hit. And heartbeats, uh, you can notice anybody in a room with a heartbeat that's not running cold-blooded. But yeah, that's about it, guys. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video. Mess around with your loadouts a bit. If you have any other types of loadouts like that are kind of based on a theme, drop them down in the comments. I would love to see and test around with some more stuff, but I think this pretty much will cover any kind of situation that you are gonna have playing Warzone.